So the president is saying that Republican obstruction forces Ham, but only 4 months ago, he had claimed that his hands had been tied.
Have you done everything you can do with executive authority, or is there more you could do?
I've done all I can do. Just give me the power. I've asked for the very day I got in office.
This action will help us gain control of our border, restore order into the process. Doing nothing is not an option. We have to act.
So Mary Katharine Ham is a columnist for Outkick, and she is our newest Fox News contributor. Welcome back.
Yes,
what
so
took
good.
you so long, right?
I'm glad
she had a few
to be
babies
back.
along the way too, and she comes with a bigger family now. Thank you for being here, Mary Katharine.
Welcome. Mike Johnson said the president engineered the open border. He signed at least 65, maybe 70 more executive orders. And to borrow a phrase from years past, what difference at this point will this make?
Well, you can't erase the damage that has been done, right? You can't erase the huge numbers of people who are already here. You also can't erase the lack of trust for this administration, who did engineer this crisis, which they're finally sort of acknowledging as a crisis. They've been confused about it for a long time. Voters are not confused about it. It's why it's in the top 3 issues for many of them, despite all these economic issues as well. They're feeling pressure from this. They're feeling the opposite of what Biden offered to them, which was the lack. He said, I'm going to bring order, not chaos. This feels like chaos. So let me be clear, and I think you have to deal with the cynicism here because it speaks to whether you can trust this administration on this issue, which is what voters are concerned about. This is not a border crisis for them. This is a re-election crisis for them. So this is a last-ditch effort to say, look, we're doing something about this, even though, as you note, Bill, months ago, both Biden and Mayorkas at DHS said, there's nothing we can do here. Well, we know it's not true that there's nothing they can do because it was Biden's executive actions removing Trump's executive actions that created the situation in the first place. And the folly of governing in opposition to Trump, even when some of those actions were effective, is coming home to roost right now.
But Mary Katharine, one of the things that I've read is pretty interesting is that Biden at this point, 5 months from today till the election, he's still trying to lock down his own base. And he's got a problem on the far left, which makes up a significant piece of his coalition. And they don't want to return to Trump-era policies. And yesterday they were expressing dismay that President Biden would even consider doing this, because this is what they did after 2017. They decided to make a change on the Democratic side to go against anything President Trump was for. And Biden says yesterday, look, I will never demonize immigrants. I will never refer to immigrants as poisoning the blood of the country, et cetera. So it's also interesting that it's coming at a point where he's trying to maybe try to move to the middle to see if that will work. I'm skeptical on that. But at the same time, he risks losing or further distancing himself from that far left coalition.
Look, I think as usual, the strategy is somewhat incoherent from this White House because they do have to deal with several things. They have to deal with the fact that voters in the middle of the road are upset with them, are upset with this situation. But the left was very happy with what was happening at the border. The left is happy to let people flow over with no sort of cap on it at all. By the way, it seems like this 2,500 number that they're giving, which is far less than the 5,000 that was in that Senate bill that they bemoaned not passing, maybe they could have offered that to Republicans as something to do a deal on. But instead they said, oh no, this is the best you will ever get, and cynically once again went after the opposition instead of getting something done. Now the question is, do we actually get something out of this for those middle of the road voters who are concerned about this? And again, I don't think you can trust this administration to actually follow through with these things that they're promising to do.
We shall see on that. MK Secretary Mayorkas was on with Neil yesterday, says it's the time is not too late. Watch.
We expected Congress to act. They did not act once. They recently failed to act twice, and we took this executive action. It's not too little, and it's not too late. We had hoped that Congress would act. They have failed to do so, and the president exercised his executive authority as he has done now.
Now, some people are going to believe that. Wall Street Journal editorial board does not, however. No doubt Mr. Biden will wave his new order as a shield during his debate with Mr. Trump this month, but the transparently political timing of his order invites voter skepticism. Here's another question. The media. Will they follow this, or will they move on to something else in the coming 5 months?
Look, I think it becomes a question of whether the media can sort of ignore this problem and whether voters can see past it even if they do. I think voters have seen past it even when they haven't been covering the crisis closely. And I think to Mayorkas's question, does he mean too little too late for their electoral problems or too little too late for the actual security problems inherent in this issue? Because I know you guys know the story of earlier this May, 2 Jordanian nationals posing as an Amazon van tried to gain entry to Quantico, right? So we do have risks out there that have already been let into the country, and I'm not sure how you get past too little too late with those issues.
MKH for the win. Great to have you back. Thanks, Mary Katharine.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.